Shocking revelation. My daughter surprised me by transforming our villa for her husband's family. It was a sunlit afternoon, and everything seemed right in Jack Thompson's world until his daughter Lily burst into the workshop, her eyes sparkling with an excitement he hadn't seen in years.
Dad.
I'm engaged to Marco. The name sent an electric shock through him. Marco, the polished entrepreneur with a swagger that made Jack's humble heart race with unease. Suddenly, his carefully carved piece shattered. Images of sleek suits, luxury cars, and a world away from their rustic roots loomed large, polluting his heart with doubt. Had she really chosen a life adorned with wealth over the love that filled their family home? As wedding plans spread like wildfire, the looming specter of change advanced upon them. Jack knew it wasn't just any wedding. Lily intended to renovate their cherished villa, a home steeped in memories and love, into something that mirrored Marco's affluent family's lifestyle. Every whispered dream from her blossomed into worries that coiled tight around his chest. What about us, Lily?
He wanted to cry.
Gritting his teeth, he remained silent, consumed by conflicting emotions. Was he becoming an obstacle to her happiness, or simply holding fast to the essence of their legacy? He witnessed the transformation, workers milling about, removing treasured family artwork, pushing aside laughter that once echoed in the hallways. The walls, once vibrant with stories and warmth, were being stripped bare, exchanged for opulent decor designed to capture the eye, but not the heart. Has Lily traded her roots for the gilded life? With every discarded memento, Jack's memories of evenings spent carving wood alongside his father resurfaced, each one contrasting the hollow opulence that encroached upon his existence. Running his hands along the familiar wooden beams, visualizing a world shifting beneath his feet, Jack retreated to the solace of his workshop, the sanctuary where every nail hammered, every plank shaped was imbued with love. Yet, his sanctuary couldn't cage the rising tide of betrayal and despair. It was within this cocoon of sawdust that he stumbled upon an old, wooden box. The rusty hinges creaked as he opened it, revealing yellowing papers that transformed his life from mundane to extraordinary. Inside lay a hidden inheritance property long thought lost, remnants of a legacy that could change everything. A flood of conflicting emotions engulfed him. Joy danced alongside fear. Would this discovery alter his perspective? Could he shield Lily from the allure of flashy wealth? Jack's mind raced, the questions clawing at his heart. Did he dare confront her now, to shatter her dreams in pursuit of family values? Or should he remain still, and hope the love they shared would be enough to keep her grounded? The anxiety twisted tighter, leaving him breathless at the crossroads of the future. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that is happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. Jack's hands trembled as he thought of confronting Lily. The thought of losing her to a destiny filled with wealth, but devoid of familial love gnawed at him. He felt the weight of perfect precision in the air, a tightrope he walked where love and concern blended into anguish. Could he find the courage to voice his fears, or would silence seal his fate? As he stood at the precipice of despair, the winds of change howled louder, threatening to carry his family away from the roots that had nurtured them for generations. The future held an uncertain promise, and a deep sense of unease tightened around his chest. What would he lose if he remained silent? Would anything ever feel whole again? The questions swirled in a cyclone of fear as he faced the weight of a truth now tumbling toward him, a legacy hanging by a thread. The following mornings blurred into one another as Jack wrestled with the secret nestled deep within that old wooden box. Time became an unyielding force, propelling him towards an inevitable confrontation. Each time he saw Lily's bright smile, felt the warmth of her laughter piercing through the hollow shell of uncertainty, the dilemma deepened. Was he a protector or a prisoner of his own fears? Shadows of doubt consumed him, muting the vibrant colors of their cherished memories into shades of gray. One evening, he found himself walking through the empty villa, now a shell of its former self. The air felt electric with change, as workers hurried about, the luxurious decor unmistakably at odds with the very fabric of their family's history. He paused, his heart pounding as he gazed at the newly installed chandeliers, unlike anything he had ever known. The brightness cast by those lights felt foreign, illuminating the sacrifices he had made. Sacrifices that seemed to be trampled underfoot by the weight of extravagance. With each step, he became increasingly aware of the dissonance flooding his thoughts. Jack realized that this transformation extended beyond mere walls plastered with paint and extravagant furnishings. It represented a divergence in values, a chasm that threatened to fracture their bond. He wondered if he had the strength to guide Lily back towards her roots, revealing the discoveries carved from wood and love that stood in stark contrast to the luxury surrounding her. Twisting his fingers around the familiar contours of his tools, he felt an intimate longing to return to the essence of who he was before the shadows cast by wealth obscured everything else. That night, he sat alone in the workshop, armed with his memories of simpler times, chipping wood, laughing with his father, just being who he was. As the moonlight painted the room with a silver glow, each stroke of his carving tool echoed the pulse of his anxiety. He felt the hidden inheritance weighing heavily in his mind. Could he truly wield it as a compass to steer Lily back towards a life where love held precedence over wealth? The question arose, if he did reveal this legacy, would it only compound her ambitions, further tying her to the glimmering world he feared? Or could it serve as a bridge back to their shared values? The clock ticked, a steady rhythm against the backdrop of his swirling thoughts. With resolve, Jack began to carve. He channeled his emotions into the wood, each sweep of the tool doing more than shaping the material. It began to shape his perspective. He saw Lily standing near him, her youthful spirit alight with wonder, eagerly learning from each new project. Who she used to be, before the trappings of wealth entered their lives, hung heavy in the air, a whisper of the past. As dawn slowly broke, he realized that perhaps it was never just about protecting her. Perhaps it was about empowering her to see the beauty in the ordinary, to embody that legacy of love while navigating the complexities of her choices. This epiphany rekindled something inside him, a sense of purpose beyond protecting or revealing. It was time to connect, to inspire. With a sense of urgency, Jack decided he wouldn't wait any longer. It was clear the time had come for a confrontation, not born from obligation but from a place of love. He would invite her into the sanctuary, illuminating their craft and presenting the legacy he'd stumbled upon. But as he gathered his thoughts, preparing for that pivotal conversation, the weight of uncertainty pressed upon him. Would Lily welcome the invitation to explore their roots, or would she turn away, further entangled in the allure of riches? The stakes had never felt higher as the divide between their paths loomed larger than ever. As the sun rose, breaching the horizon with tentative warmth and light, Jack realized one truth. He had waited long enough to act. The moment of reckoning was imminent, and the outcome could shatter their connection or bring them closer than ever before. The future hung in the balance, trembling precariously at the edge of revelation, waiting for the courage to speak. Would he finally bridge the gap? Or was he destined to watch her slip further from his grasp? Jack stood outside the workshop, a knot tightening in his stomach as he prepared to meet Lily. The morning sun bathed the world in warmth, but inside, he felt a storm brewing. His heart raced with anticipation and fear. Every moment he'd spent carving had awakened a renewed sense of purpose within him, yet doubt lingered like a well-worn shadow. Would she understand? Would she feel the weight of their shared legacy? As he pushed the door open, the scent of sawdust, mixed with a sweet undertone of fresh wood, swirled about him, reminding him of the countless hours spent crafting together. Breaking the silence felt monumental, but the thought of her walking away haunted him even more. He found her in the main hall, her fingers tracing the edge of a newly arrived decor piece. The elegance around her, curated for her husband's family, was striking, yet chilling. It felt like an alien invasion of everything he held dear. Lily's laughter was vibrant as she explained the inspiration behind the lavish changes, but beneath it, he sensed a disconnection stirring a yearning for something she couldn't quite name. Lily, he started, clearing his throat as the words caught in the back.
Can we talk?
She turned, a soft smile brightening her face. Hey, Dad. What's up? Jack struggled to find his footing, the conversation he had rehearsed slipping away. He had envisioned every detail how he would implore her to see their origins in the wood and craft they had shared. But looking into her eager eyes, he faltered, questioning whether she was even aware of the divide that had begun to stretch between them. About the villa, he began slowly, testing the waters. It feels different, like it's lost something essential. Her brow furrowed. What do you mean? This is part of moving forward. It's merging our past with our present. That's just it, Jack pressed. What if the past is more important than we realize? There are things that shaped our family, things that make us who we are. I wanted to share something with you. He hesitated, gauging her reaction. Her expression didn't change, but he could see a flicker of uncertainty, as if she too sensed the paradox of their lives. It was a gap he desperately wanted to bridge. I found something in the workshop, something that connects our family story, he continued, determination igniting his voice. What is it? She asked, curiosity nudging her closer, but skepticism flickered behind her eyes like a candle wavering in the wind. Jack took a deep breath, his hands shaking slightly as he reached into his pocket to reveal the key from the wooden box, a key he had almost stashed away again in fear. This belonged to your grandfather. It's part of a legacy that I think can help us understand one another better. Lily's gaze dropped to the key, her happiness momentarily eclipsed by a shadow of confusion. Dad, I appreciate the history, but what? He interrupted, urgency bubbling within him. Isn't it worth exploring? This could show you what truly matters. The moment hung heavy, and for a fleeting second, Jack felt the stir of hope. But he quickly sensed the tension thickening, her reluctance growing. I love the villa, and I want to make it a home for my family. Isn't that the point of this? She gestured toward the lavish decor surrounding them, the triumph of beauty steeped in luxury. Jack's heart sank. He understood her desire for a new beginning, but it felt misplaced, centered entirely in the superficial gloss of wealth. But what if it pushes us apart? He challenged softly. Can't we forge our future without losing ourselves along the way? As her eyes narrowed, the clash of their visions unfolded vividly. Could he show her that their bond was more than the wallpaper and furniture she admired? Was she, in turn, willing to step beyond the allure of material splendor to rediscover what their family had valued most? Lily's expression twisted in contemplation, yet the walls she had begun to build around her ambitions seemed to fortify further. Jack had no way of knowing which direction she'd take, but the time for secrets felt over. Let us go see what this key unlocks, he said, his voice steady despite the uncertainty bubbling inside him. Maybe we'll find something worth holding onto together. Her response hesitated on her lips, and as he stepped closer, he felt the weight of their choices bearing down. Behind him, the workshop remained a silent guardian of their history, waiting to reveal the secrets sheltered in whispers of wood and love. But would Lily step willingly into that legacy, or would her pursuit of the glamorous life sever the thread joining them? The air thickened with tension as they faced a choice that could alter the course of their relationship forever. Would they emerge stronger in their shared roots, or would the allure of their differing paths lead to a heart-wrenching divergence? Jack stood still, the dusty workshop air thick with unspoken words and heavy emotions. He glanced at the key, feeling its weight in his palm, a tangible reminder of the history he so desperately wanted to share. The silence stretched between them, a chasm filled with unfulfilled expectations. Lily's gaze darted from the key to Jack, searching for answers. There was a crack in her confidence, a flicker of vulnerability beneath the surface of her polished demeanor. What do you hope to find in the past, Dad? We can't live there. Isn't it time we moved beyond those memories? Jack's heart twisted at her dismissal. It wasn't just about the past, it was about understanding who they were and building a future grounded in that knowledge. I know it's hard, he said, his voice trembling slightly. But legacy isn't just nostalgia. It's the very fabric that holds us together. She shook her head and stepped back. Maybe for you. But I want my family to have something different. Something brighter. The desire to convince her gnawed at him. He could sense her foundation built on bold declarations, yet beneath it, insecurities festered. Do you know how we got here? All those late nights in the workshop, those failures that turned into something beautiful? He took a step closer, the urgency in his heart driving him onward. This key isn't just metal, it's a passageway back to those moments. It's about resilience, about creating from struggle. Your grandfather, he poured his soul into every piece he made.
Fine.
Show me, she said, exasperation coloring her tone. The challenge was etched in her eyes. But if it's just more dusty memories, then we're back to square one. Jack felt a surge of adrenaline. This could be his chance. All right, let's go. He motioned with the key, leading her back toward the workshop, where discarded shavings lined the floor and the scent of varnish smelled like the promise of creation. As they entered, he felt the pulse of the place infusing him with strength. Memories swirled around them like glimmers in the dust. Their laughter during long days spent crafting, the arguments over design, the moments of shared triumph. He picked up his carving tools, recalling how they had worked together to create pieces that told their story. Start here. He gestured to an unfinished piece, a simple chair crafted from reclaimed wood. Why did I stop working on it? What does it say to you? Lily stepped closer, her brow furrowing as she examined the partially carved legs. It's rough, she stated, tilting her head in consideration. But I can see it becoming something. Exactly, he replied, his enthusiasm mounting. It's like life, really. It's rough, flawed. But that's what makes it uniquely yours. He worked a piece of wood along the grain, chips flying as he shaped the vision he saw in his mind. She crossed her arms, watching as he turned the block, a mixture of admiration and skepticism palpable in her expression. And what if it never becomes anything? Jack paused, feeling the weight of her question. Then we learn from it. Just like I learned from every mistake in crafting. That's what I want to do with you, Lily. This key might open up more than just a lock. It could open up conversations. Understanding. We can't share a home if we don't share a story. They stood amid the remnants of family history, two hearts seeking a compromise between the allure of luxury and the strength of legacy. Jack hoped the lifeline he offered wouldn't slip away. With a shared challenge flickering in the air, Lily asked, "Where does this key even go?" Jack's breath caught, suddenly aware of the weight of her question. He had assumed there would be a readiness, a willingness to explore together. But uncertainty gnawed at him. Could he navigate this uncharted territory? The illustration of who they were now lay before them, waiting in the unseen corners of their shared history. Let us find out, he replied, a rush of determination intermingling with lingering doubt. They needed to discover if this journey could pull them together or tear them apart. He turned toward the locked cabinet in the corner, one that had always felt shrouded in mystery, the potential for revelation almost stifling in its presence. As he inserted the key, a chilling thought washed over him. What if the past held more than just memories? What if it contained truths that could reshape their understanding of one another entirely? With a click, the lock released a sound echoing with the promise of newfound clarity. As the cabinet door creaked open, Jack and Lily leaned in closer together, the anticipation of secrets breathing life into the moment. What would they find as they ventured into the past? Would it bind them, or would it shatter the fragile connection they desperately wanted to strengthen? As the cabinet door swung open, the chilling aroma of aged wood and dust wafted into the air, enveloping Jack and Lily in whispers of times long gone. Shadows danced in the cracks, illuminating scattered memories from generations. Jack's heart raced, a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. They were on the brink of unveiling something buried, something that might reveal the essence of their strained bond. Inside the cabinet, a collection of old journals awaited their discovery. Dusting off the covers, Jack's fingers trembled, and he hesitated before reaching for one, its spine creaking as if it had secrets yearning to be released. He glanced at Lily, her expression shifting from skepticism to curiosity. "Go ahead," she urged, crossing her arms as if to shield herself from the weight of revelations. "What did you find? What's in these old things?" Carefully, he opened the journal and began to read aloud, entries from his father detailing the struggles of a fledgling craft. Each sentence painted a picture of desperation and passion, echoes of dreams tangled with disappointments. Jack could feel the emotions surging through his own veins, reflecting the legacy he had inherited. Lily leaned closer, a frown forming on her brow. "But this is just struggle. Why would you want to hold on to this pain?" For a moment, Jack hesitated. "Because it's not just pain, it's growth." He had to face failure to discover what he was truly capable of. "It's powerful, it's transformative." As Jack continued reading, Lily's arms uncrossed, her posture shifting. Jack seized the moment, turning the pages. Each entry was an emotional rawness that resonated within him, revealing not just his father's resilience, but also a profound bond he had with his craft. The work was not simply about producing, it was about life's lessons. "Look," he said, turning to a particularly poignant passage. Here he talks about a project that went awry, how it took him a whole year to get it right. And all that time, he felt the weight of disappointment, but he didn't give up. "That's what I'm trying to share with you, Lily, the understanding that every setback can lead to something beautiful." Lily was silent, digesting the information. "So, you think these stories will help me create a newer legacy for the family?" Jack's heart fluttered at her willingness to engage, to see beyond the struggle and tackle the depths of history.
Yes.
"You'd be building on the foundation laid by those who came before us. The mistakes, their lessons. They remind us that we aren't feats of perfection, but products of perseverance." A spark ignited in Lily's eyes, a flicker of understanding glimmering through her initial guard. Jack leaned into that energy. "We've all been cautious, afraid of letting the past dictate our futures. But what if we let it inform us instead? I want you to discover the craft for yourself, free from the burdens I carry." "But what if I don't want this legacy?" she countered, defensive resolve creeping back into her tone. "What if I want something completely different?" "That's okay. This isn't a mandate. It's an invitation," Jack replied earnestly, pouring out his heart. "Your legacy can be an evolution of this one. You can take these lessons and mold them into something entirely your own." Jack felt a shift within himself. Perhaps this was the turning point they both needed. He was no longer just a father pushing a legacy, but a facilitator of exploration. As Lily studied the journals with renewed interest, Jack felt hope bubbling within, his daughter's hesitance softening, uncomfortable truths overtaken by possibilities. But as she flipped through the pages, her brow furrowed, and she gasped. "Dad, look at this," she breathed, holding up a crumpled photograph that slipped from between the pages. The image revealed not just their family, but an unfamiliar figure, a woman who resembled Lily. The realization hit like a thunderclap. This mystery woman had ties to their past that Jack had never known. Caught between dread and curiosity, Jack felt the ground of their familial legacy tremor beneath him. Who is she? He realized they were yet to unlock deeper truths with implications far beyond their initial exploration. Would this missing piece alter their understanding of each other and their shared legacy? The weight of those questions hung in the air, setting the stage for a revelation that could reshape everything they thought they knew. The photograph fluttered to the floor, its edges curling like autumn leaves, while Jack's mind buzzed with questions. Who was this woman? How did she connect to their past? Lily knelt to retrieve the image, her expression impenetrable. Jack's heart pounded, sensing the enormity of what lay ahead. This moment had the potential to redefine their narrative entirely. "Let us look closely," Jack said, striving to maintain an encouraging tone even as unease gnawed at his insides. They settled on the creaky wooden floor, the journal and photograph positioned between them as if a bridge over a chasm of uncertainty. "I don't know, Dad," Lily mumbled, her voice barely above a whisper. What if we're digging up something better, left alone? Jack recognized the fear in her eyes, a fear of not just uncovering painful secrets, but also of understanding who they could become afterward. But what if what we discover might help us grow? We need to confront our past to embrace our future. With hesitation, Lily flipped the photograph, revealing faded handwriting scrawled on the back. "This says her name is Agnes," she remarked, a flicker of recognition crossing her face. Jack's stomach turned. He had never heard that name in the family context. "Agnes," he repeated, testing the sound on his tongue. It felt foreign and intimate all at once. He recalled stories of his grandparents, but not a single reference to this woman ever emerged. "Lily, who do you think she is?" Lily's brow furrowed deeper as she shook her head. "Maybe she's an ancestor. Or something else." Jack felt an inexplicable urge to piece this puzzle together. With every ounce of patience he could muster, he coaxed her. "Let us reflect on what this might mean. If she's part of our lineage, it allows us a chance to honor her story, to understand her struggles. It can teach us something essential." The conversation shifted, and Lily's resistance gradually started to fade. "You think she faced hardship too?" "Absolutely," Jack responded, warmth creeping into his tone. "Everyone does. It connects us. It shows that each of us has overcome something, just as your grandfather did." The emotional weight of that unearthing settled in. Jack felt both a teacher and a student, guiding Lily through a threshold of awareness while also seeking clarity for himself. The journey of generations unfolded before them, a tapestry woven with resilience, but just as Jack began feeling a balm of connection and understanding form between them, a debilitating thought struck. What other secrets could Agnes hold? The revelation gnawed at the edges of Jack's mind. He shook off the anxious thought, focusing on the foundations of their family story instead. What if we make it our mission to learn about her? Discover how she fits into our legacy? Lily glanced from the photograph to the journal and back again. Slowly, determination hardened in her gaze.
"All right, Dad.
"Let us do it. But if we're going down this road, we need to keep it real. No romanticizing the past." "Agreed," Jack said, feeling energy surge within him. In that moment, he recognized not only the evolution of his daughter, but also confronted his own evolution. This wasn't just about exposing a tangled family history, it was about embracing the complexity with open hearts. As they stood to gather their materials, Jack's resolve deepened. Exploring Agnes' story felt increasingly vital, something they needed to not only learn but live. They wouldn't merely adapt the legacy left by the past, they would redefine it. Yet, layers of apprehension peeled back each time he pressed against the prospect of unveiling more truths. The past had a way of accumulating stories that challenged perceptions, and as they embarked on this journey, he couldn't shake the feeling that something darker lurked just beneath the surface. "Are you ready for this?" Jack asked, eyeing Lily with a mixture of pride and concern. "More than ever," she replied, a new fire flickering in her eyes. Jack took a deep breath, their shared determination bolstering him, but his thoughts raced ahead. Where would Agnes lead them? The stakes felt precariously high, and the shadows of history loomed larger than ever. Together, they stepped beyond the familiar boundaries of their legacy, setting a course that promised far more than they could have anticipated. But lurking in the depths was the unsettling realization that some discoveries could overturn everything they believed about each other. Little did they know, the next revelation would not only test their resolve but redefine the very core of who they thought they were. As they stood in the dim light filtering through the old attic window, Jack couldn't shake the anticipation building within him. The photograph of Agnes was more than just paper. It was a key, whispering of hidden narratives and suppressed truths. His thoughts spiraled, sifting through every possible pathway that could lead them closer to understanding not only Agnes, but themselves as well. The harsh reality of their family history pressed against him as he recalled the grip of secrets, which had stifled conversations over the years. He observed Lily, who was studying the photograph with fierce concentration. It was a glimpse of her burgeoning maturity, her willingness to embrace complexity rather than evade it. Jack felt an unfamiliar mix of pride and dread slicing through his heart. "Let us check the journal first," he suggested, albeit hesitantly. It felt like they were about to lift an ancient stone from an unmarked grave. Each turn of the page could reveal whispers from the past or echoes of discontent that had shaped their lineage. As they rifled through the pages, Jack observed Lily's brow furrowed in concentration while she traced the fragile handwriting with her finger. He watched her intently, hoping she would glean something substantial. All while, internally, he wrestled with his own thoughts. Did he truly want to open this door? Was he ready to confront the demons hiding in their family's past? What if Agnes faced challenges that shattered her? What if her story is riddled with pain? Lily suddenly asked, her voice a fragile thread in the air. What if we change our perception of our family forever? Those challenges could also be lessons, Jack countered, surprising himself with the strength of his conviction. Understanding the hardships can help us appreciate our present. Lily let out a sigh as she absorbed his words. But does it come with a cost? What if we find something that tears us apart instead? Jack hesitated, her fears resonating within him. The prospect of discovering destructive truths weighed heavily. Yet, was it more dangerous to remain in ignorance? Sometimes we have to face the dark to find the light. Even if it hurts, he reasoned, glancing at her with a mix of reassurance and uncertainty. It's about reclaiming our narrative, not letting it control us. The journal and its secrets seemed like a tether connecting them to souls long gone. As Jack read out loud from the next entry, his voice resonated in the stillness. The words painted a vivid image of Agnes, a woman fighting against the odds. Hope ignited within him, accompanied by a disquieting realization. If Agnes struggled, what legacy had she left behind? Were they inheritors of her burdens along with her strengths? Lily's gaze shifted as she processed the emerging complexities, unlocking something within her he hadn't fully witnessed before. Curiosity seemed to morph into a tangible force that could shatter her previously held apprehensions. What if Agnes was a pioneer? She mused aloud. What if she defied the odds like you've always said we should? Jack felt his heart synchronize with her newfound enthusiasm, yet doubt still lingered. But what does it mean for us, Lily? What if she made choices that didn't align with who we thought we were? Maybe that's exactly it. She turned to him, determination radiating. Maybe we need to consider what parts of her legacy we want to embrace or reject. That truth hit Jack like a sharp gust of wind, inviting unfiltered introspection. Was it possible that the very essence of their familial identity hinged on such a choice? The weight of the revelation bore down on him, raising questions about his own values, about the past he had carefully constructed as truth. The floorboard creaked beneath them, a reminder of the fragile ground they stood on between the past they inherited and the future they could create. With each exposure to Agnes' story, the specters of their own conceptions loomed larger. Let us promise to be honest with ourselves, no matter what we find, Jack said, steeling his resolve. Agreed, Lily said, pressing the photograph into her palm as if it were a talisman. But even as she acknowledged their pact, Jack remained acutely aware of the lurking uncertainty. The past had a way of entwining itself with the present, and as they delved deeper, another question loomed, one that bore the weight of distrust and vulnerability. What would they do if they discovered a truth too bitter to digest? As the shadows deepened around them, the air thick with unsaid words, they prepared to encounter Agnes. What they would uncover felt imminent but uncertain, confidence intermingled with apprehension. It would take more than determination to navigate the labyrinth of the past. They would need to confront not only the ghosts of their ancestry but also their own reflections staring back at them, waiting to unveil choices and consequences intertwined throughout their family's narrative. Then, just as they prepared to dive into another journal entry, a new sensation washed over Jack, an electric pulse of urgency. Beneath that photograph lay not just Agnes' past, but also the intentions of future generations. And as he felt his mind racing ahead, he realized that this journey had the potential to ignite revelations far beyond his expectations, ones that could shake their very foundation. but the first turn of the page would reveal whether they were ready for a reckoning that could redefine their bond forever. The musty scent of old paper mixed with dust filled the air as Jack carefully flipped to the next entry in Agnes's journal. Each page seemed thicker with memory, as if the words themselves transcribed the weight of generations. He hesitated, his fingers trembling slightly, a mix of curiosity and trepidation coursing through him. This was no longer merely a quest to uncover the past, it was a crucible testing their resolve to face the very essence of their family. Lily leaned in closer, her brow knit with focused concentration. What if Agnes was trying to tell us something specific? What if each word she wrote was a breadcrumb leading us somewhere important? Her eyes sparkled with excitement, yet Jack saw the slight flicker of apprehension that danced behind them. Maybe, he replied, regarding her earnestness. But we can't ignore the chance that her path might reflect pain or regret. Jack's heart raced as he pictured a labyrinthine series of decisions that Agnes may have faced, decisions that resonated deeply within him. What choices had he made that echoed his ancestors' struggles? As he continued reading aloud, the words unfolded tales of sorrow, struggle, and resilience. He could feel Lily's breath quicken as uncertainty began to cloud her initial enthusiasm. Agnes had faced the kind of hardships that tested not just her strength, but the very fabric of her spirit. Jack's voice grew steadier, driven by a newfound determination to uncover the meaning behind the turmoil. If there was something to be learned, he needed to internalize it not just for himself but for Lily as well. What does it mean for us, though? Lily asked after a long pause, her voice barely above a whisper. Are we meant to repeat her mistakes or learn from them? Jack shut the journal momentarily, the weight of her questions sinking deep within him. The duality of understanding versus ignorance loomed large. He could choose to shield Lily from the painful truths, but what sort of parent would that make him? Ignorance bred more ignorance. It felt like a cycle they needed to break open with painful honesty. If we look at Agnes's decisions, maybe it could guide us. Jack returned her gaze, feeling a mix of responsibility and pride swell within. But we have to be willing to confront what we find beyond just the words on these pages. It's about understanding how her life shaped ours. Lily nodded, a steely glint mingling with vulnerability in her eyes. What if we found something horrifying? Something that would change everything? Then we face it together, he affirmed, sensing an invisible line being drawn in the sand between past ignorance and present responsibility. He needed her to know they were not just passive observers of their family history but active participants in rewriting their collective narrative. As they resumed reading, another entry struck Jack with a profound realization. Agnes had faced similar moral dilemmas, decisions surrounding her allegiance to love, family, and her own convictions. What had she prioritized? And how had that shaped her life and their lives decades later? The next few lines detailed a feud between Agnes and her sister, one that had split their family apart over a significant inheritance. Emotions surged within Jack as he thought about the expectations placed upon him by his own family, their voices echoing in his mind. How often had he felt compelled to sacrifice his own values for the sake of others? Jack saw reflective anguish on Lily's face, realizing she was wrestling with that same conflict. What legacy had they inherited but unresolved pain? Maybe we don't have to choose between honor and ambition like she did, she murmured, a surge of determination igniting within her. What if we forge a different path? The idea reverberated between them, a possibility that glimmered against their fears. Jack felt the urgency rise again, not only from the revelations of Agnes's life, but from the potential for rebuilding their own identity. As they confronted these painful truths, he understood that healing would require more than forgiveness. It necessitated introspection and choices emboldened by clarity. What if our legacy isn't just the burdens we carry, but the strength we find in confronting them? Jack mused, his heart pounding as he contemplated the implications. Lily glanced at the photograph still clutched in her hand, its edges soft yet sharp with significance. What if Agnes created a blueprint? Could we adapt it? Find a new way to honor her legacy? The forces of determination and discovery churned within him as they sat together in the attic's dim light, the air thick with unspoken possibilities. They were poised on the threshold of breaking generational curses and creating a future anchored in resilience. But just then, a loud crash echoed from downstairs, jolting them from their contemplations. Without thinking, Jack shot up, his heart racing. What was that? The moment forced them into the reality outside this emotional pilgrimage, shaping their next step. They had ventured into the past only to be reminded that they still had a present to protect. They needed answers, but so did the aggressions lurking within their own lives, waiting for their attention. Jack took a deep breath, torn between the urge to investigate the noise and the pressing urgency to continue their exploration of Agnes and what lay beneath the surface of their own history. Jack's instincts kicked in, tinged with urgency. He could hear muffled voices from below, a dissonant mix of confusion and fear piercing the attic's insular silence. He reached for Lily's hand, squeezing it tightly. "Stay close," he whispered, glancing back at the journal, where Agnes's haunting reflections felt both a comfort and a weight. Yet the past would have to pause. The present demanded his attention. They descended the creaky stairs, each step echoing the stillness of the house. A quiet anxiety curled around them. Jack's mind raced, reflections dancing on the precipice of dread. The confrontation with the past had felt monumental, but it paled against the unpredictability of the now. As they neared the living room, the voices clarified, revealing themselves as sharp and unfamiliar, like shards of glass. They weren't alone. The thought made Jack's heart pound in his chest. Stepping cautiously into the room, he was greeted by the sight of two strangers, men in casual attire, clearly out of place yet seemingly at home in the chaos they decreated. One had knocked over a lamp, while the other rifled through boxes stacked haphazardly in a corner. The remnants of an unfinished renovation were strewn about, but it wasn't the state of the room that held Jack's focus. It was their invasive presence.
Who are you?
Jack demanded, his voice steadying in the face of confrontation. The men turned, surprise etched onto their faces, as though they had been caught raiding a treasure trove. "Sorry, man. We thought this place was abandoned," one of them replied, scratching the back of his head sheepishly. The other flashed a half-hearted smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "This isn't an abandoned house," Jack replied with conviction, stepping further into the room. He put himself between the intruders and Lily, instinctively protective. "What are you doing here?" Before they could answer, an unwelcome thought struck him. Had the journal been more than a collection of stories? Had Agnes hid something of value, sparking a desire in these strangers to uncover it? The realization was gnawing. It was not only their familial legacy that was at stake, but perhaps something much more tangible. "We were told there might be some old stuff left behind worth checking out," one man said, feigning nonchalance, but Jack could see the flicker of uncertainty in his gaze. "We didn't mean any harm." "Leave now," Jack said firmly, exercising a newfound authority that coursed through him. This was not only about protecting his daughter, but about drawing a line in the sand against a legacy of neglect and disregard for their family story. "You need to go, and take whatever you think you might find with you." Lily stayed quiet, and Jack noticed her tense posture, a mixture of fear and intrigue swirling within her. He wanted her to see the strength in standing up for their space and their story, but all she saw were two intruders threatening the fragile bubble they had created from old wounds. The men exchanged glances, the urgency of Jack's resolve visibly weighing upon them. They could feel the shift in the atmosphere, the electricity of his protective instinct pressing against their uncertainty. After brief hesitations, they shrugged, stepping back toward the door, clearly not prepared for the commitment of retribution that lay in Jack's next actions. As they exited, Jack felt the oppressive weight lift slightly, but knew it was merely a pause. "Are we safe?" Lily finally broke her silence. "If we stand together, we will be," Jack replied, meeting her gaze with a mix of reassurance and determination. The intrusion had unveiled more than just their home under siege. It revealed cracks in their heritage that needed mending. The two of them stood surrounded by the remnants of Agnes's life, the stories that suffocated in the shadows of their past, stories now threatening to emerge as tangible realities. What if their quest for treasures mirrors our own? Lily pondered, her voice a soft echo of fear and insight. What if there is something we have to uncover here, Jack? The question hung in the air, laden with both potential and dread. Jack felt an undeniable responsibility surge within him. How could they hope to navigate the future without first confronting the chaos they had inherited? With both unease and courage swelling in the space between them, Jack and Lily turned back toward the attic, the journals calling them toward yet another revelation. Treasures awaited, but at what cost? Just as they approached the attic steps once more, a chilling realization dawned on Jack. What if they were not the only ones searching for answers? He hesitated, caught in the web of inheritance, a legacy of hidden truths that now seemed more alive than ever. What awaited them in the pages of Agnes's story might be their salvation or their undoing. Jack and Lily stood in the dim light of the attic, adrenaline still coursing through their veins after the unexpected intrusion. The trauma of the moment seemed to crystallize their shared quest for understanding into a palpable catalyst for transformation. Jack's heart thrummed with a renewed conviction. They weren't merely clawing through family history, they were reclaiming it. I think they were searching for something. Lily spoke, her voice steady, yet laced with uncertainty. Just like us. Jack nodded, recognizing the truth in her words. Maybe it's time we take full control of our story before anyone else defines it for us. They clambered back to the creaky wooden floor, silence enveloping them as they sifted through the journals and memoirs. Jack felt that this wasn't just an exploration of the past, but a defining moment of reclaiming the narrative of their family. With each entry they read, layers of meaning unfolded, echoing rich lessons in resilience, love, and imperfection. One entry resonated deeply, revealing Agnes's struggle to balance her desires with familial expectations, mirroring the very conflict Jack faced with Lily. Had he inadvertently imposed expectations on her despite his best intentions? This realization weighed heavily in his mind, birthing a new awareness. Look at this, Dad, Lily said, her voice breaking his reverie. She held another photograph, syntactically familiar, capturing Agnes' softer moments, her laughter, moments of joy amid chaos. She fought, but she found ways to relish small moments, same as we did. Jack felt tears prick his eyes. In their journey of searching for a lost legacy, they were unearthing the warmth that had once bound their family together. It's about finding hope, isn't it? Amid struggles, he murmured, understanding dawning upon him. We've skirted around our narrative for too long, afraid of what we might find. As they continued to delve deeper, Lily's reluctance began peeling away, revealing a fierce determination to embrace both the struggles and triumphs that lay before her. With her newfound insights, her perception shifted from a mere residence of lavishness to one rooted in history, continuity, and love. Jack's hands trembled on the pages, reflecting on how their shared journey had transformed not only their understanding of Agnes, but of themselves. We can redefine our path, Lily, he said firmly, meeting her gaze. This legacy isn't just handed down, it's actively created. Without another moment's hesitation, they dove back into those cherished memories, each new revelation igniting a fire that illuminated their spirits. With every turning page, they solidified their identities, crafting a tapestry rich with stories of tenacity, dreams, and familial bonds. Days blended into weeks. Together they engineered a plan to infuse the villa with the authenticity of their ancestors without surrendering to superficial allure. They fused the past with their visions, the luxurious elements transformed into meaningful reminders of their lineage. Lily revealed her plans for an area in the villa dedicated to their family craftsmanship, where they could hold workshops to pass on the lessons of resilience and ingenuity. As the renovations progressed, a palpable sense of pride echoed in the halls. Jack watched Lily as she poured herself into the project, blending the aesthetics of old and new, and he realized the essence of family value was taking root in her once more. When the day finally arrived for their friends and family to gather, the villa showcased a tapestry of their history, a blend of expansive windows allowing natural light to pour in, mingling with handmade furniture etched with tales of love and perseverance. Jack felt a profound sense of fulfillment wash over him. This wasn't merely a home reborn, but a legacy reclaimed. The warmth of shared laughter enveloped them, stories stilled on the air around the gathering. In that moment, Jack witnessed his daughter standing tall, imbued with an unstoppable spirit. She had achieved a synthesis of who she was and where she came from, proving that their family's values were not lost but transformed across generations. "This is your home as much as mine, Dad," Lily declared with a smile, illuminating the depths of accomplishment within him. Jack's heart surged with pride, solid confidence rising as he smiled back. They had faced history together and emerged not only intact but renewed, empowered by understanding. Jack had conquered his fears, embraced the legacy left to him, and through that acceptance, found not only personal growth, but a closer connection to his daughter, a bond strengthened through the challenges faced together. Life would never offer perfection, but they had transformed the very essence of their family into something vibrant and alive, something that celebrated flaws yet triumphed in connection. Jack realized then, standing beside Lily, not as protector but equal, that they both had achieved something monumental. They forged a home where values reigned supreme, standing against the test of time. As they exchanged glances filled with understanding, Jack saw his daughter for who she truly was, a figure not caught in the pursuit of wealth, but a creator of memories grounded in love. Now more than ever, he understood that their life together, rooted in legacy and family, could evolve, their journey continuing to unfold beyond even this moment. Take a stand for your own story, like Jack and Lily. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and theories about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Your voice matters. Only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the significance of supporting the channel through these actions. Don't wait even one more second.